I got a question for you. If life gave you a reset button, would you press it? The sad truth is most people wait for a tragedy to happen and then they hit the reset button. Most people think that they can't stop in the middle of life or in the middle of a circumstance and just start over. They feel like they have to stick it out and see the failure all the way until the end. They think they have to wait for the breakup to happen. They think they have to hit rock bottom first in order to start over. But the truth is, you can reset at any time. The moment you recognize that your life is not in agreement with your purpose, reset. Where all my dream catchers at? Where all my dream catchers at? I hope y'all are out there catching all the dreams in 25. No wasted visions, no wasted dreams. And welcome back to A Life of No More Regrets with Nika Miller. This is your go-to channel for all things wellness, and I'm your private accountability coach to help you on your journey to create the life you desire. And today we're going to be talking about the reset button that we all have seemed to forget that we have. Yes, indeed. And in this video, I'm going to share the 5 things that I had to hit the reset button on that completely shifted my life. So y'all know my podcast is built on transparency. I like to tell you things about me and what I'm going through so you can get inspiration for your life. So grab your pens and your purpose and let's get into it. So I want you to write this down. Reset, replace, rebuild. Reset, replace, rebuild. Now that's not just a slogan, that's a framework for transformation. The reset means you stop carrying the weight of what broke you. Replace means you swap out the old belief, the old habit, the old story with one that actually serves you. And rebuild means you take all that new energy and you start constructing the life you really want. That's what the reset button allows you to do. And one of the first things I must confess that I had to hit the reset button on. I spent so many years living in my mistakes, y'all. Living in the shadows, living in the fear, living in the shame of not being the perfect person. I didn't necessarily want to be perfect, but I wanted to be the perfect friend, the perfect daughter, the perfect student. I held myself to a high standard at a very early age. I wanted to be kind to everyone. I wanted to love everyone and make life better for everybody. I just wanted to be perfect in that sense. And that came from my religious upbringing and probably just who I was as a person. I just didn't want to be associated with anything negative. And it didn't matter how big or how small my mistakes or imperfections were. I just by default remember how I would beat myself up if I made one little mistake, until one day I realized that I was the only one counting my mistakes. I would bring things up to people that they never even noticed. I would bring up flaws that other people weren't even paying attention to. I couldn't take a compliment without downplaying it first. And I realized, I was the only one holding the magnifying glass to my life. I realized the only mountain that was stopping me was me. No one else really cared, at least not the people that loved me. But then I also realized, I was trauma dumping and opening myself up to attract other unhealed individuals. I was attracting vultures and vampires. They was preying on my weakness. They drained me until I hit rock bottom. That dark night of the soul experience. But something woke me up, y'all. Something woke me up, and it was tragedy, unfortunately. I watched people I loved die with regrets, and I didn't want to be that person. You know, I wanted more. And that's where I came up with this concept, A Life of No More Regrets. All those years that I thought if I gave more, if I loved harder, if I carried everybody else's weight, then maybe I finally feel like enough. Maybe they would love me back. Maybe they would show up for me. But here's the truth. No matter how high you give to others, you'll never feel satisfied until you're good within. I was out here trying to be more for everybody because somebody wasn't more for me when I needed them to be. So I thought if I showed up, they would show back up, but it never crossed my mind to just show up for me, be more for me. And sis, let me tell you, one day I stopped pouring from empty. The day I stopped hustling for validation was the day I remembered I am the one person who will be with me until the very end. And so I owe her, the woman in the mirror, I owe her healing. I owe her love. I owe her overflow. And so the first reset button I had to hit was I had to remember that love starts with me. I had to replace that old belief with a new one. And I want you to know that love starts with you too. The second reset button I had to hit is I had to realize that my mistakes don't define me. And this one goes throughout like many of these other reset buttons I had to hit. This was like a loop. It kept showing up. I had to realize that My mistakes don't define me. And I know that sounds so cliche, but hear me when I say your mistakes don't define you either. So then I had to ask myself, why did I ever think that my mistakes define me? This is a part of the reset. It's going within and figuring out, where did this belief even come from in the first place? Where did I get that from, And I had to dig deep. I had to research and really go within to find the answers to this question. And you know what I realized? I never got enough attention for doing good things. I played sports. I got good grades. I was in plays and I ran track. And I remember nobody showing up for me most of the time. And them not showing up for me as a little girl, I told myself that I wasn't enough. They didn't show up because I didn't matter. And that lie followed me for years. I was so cruel to myself. So when I got older, every time something didn't work out perfectly the first time, I thought it was life saying, see, you're not worthy of this either. That's why every failure, it just cut me so deep, because it wasn't just about the moment. It was about the story that I already believed about myself, that I wasn't enough, that I didn't matter. And so I had learned to measure myself by my failures. How many of y'all are measuring your success by your failures? That guilt trip turned into a snowball effect. It wrecked every area of my life. You hear me? I started measuring my entire life by this unfair standard. Even in my relationships, even in my friendships too, when people left, or even if we mutually decided to go our separate ways, it was all failures. To me, I held on to them in my soul as failures, even if I knew that person wasn't good for me. In my book, it was still a failure. But here's what I know now. Their absence, them not showing up to my performances as a child, and people leaving my life and setbacks in life, was never proof of my worth. It was just proof of their limitations. My value was always there, even when nobody clapped for it. My mistakes don't define me. Their silence, them not showing up, me looking out into that audience and not seeing them, that don't define me. And so I had hit rock bottom, and I realized that I couldn't keep going this way. I was the mountain. It was me. I had to realize that I was carrying battles inside of me that no one else could see. It wasn't the world holding me back. It was my own belief that I wasn't enough. And yes, those things did happen. And yes, they were real. But the part I had to own was this. I was the one who let them define me. See, we all have a decision. It happened, but I didn't have to let it define me. I wore their limitations like sunglasses, and all I could see was a reflection of unworthy. I did that. I put that on. I chose to hold on to it and keep it. I was self-sabotaging my success, telling myself that every no was permanent, every failure was final, when really it was just feedback. I kept standing in my own way until I realized the only thing harder than climbing a mountain is carrying one on your back. And so I had to put that mountain down, y'all. And I started walking freely. And sis, if I had to do it, so do you. Because maybe life ain't saying no to you either. So what is life really saying? What is life really telling me with all these setbacks? Maybe life is saying, if you really want this, show me. Push a little harder, dig a little deeper. Maybe life was really telling me, if you really want this next level, you got to punch a little bit harder. You weak. You got to wake up a little earlier, because the early bird gets the worm. You got to be more responsible. You got to do some shit you ain't never done, right? Because things on this level require more. So let me ask you, what old belief do you need to hit the reset button on today? You see, one of the laws of karma is the law of patience and reward. And it teaches us that the most valuable rewards require persistence. So every setback wasn't life punishing me. No. So I had to stop seeing my setbacks as rejection, and I started to see them as redirection. Life wasn't telling me to quit. It was telling me to push harder, to dig deeper. You know what I'm saying? So the third thing I had to hit the reset button on was my mind. The way I was thinking, I had to replace that old belief. That's what you have to do. You have to always replace the old belief with a new one. I had to realize life was not telling me no. It was telling me to grow. Write that down in your journal. Life is not telling you no. It's telling you to grow first. That one shift changed the way I saw setbacks. And so I want to say to you, just like my mistakes weren't the end of me, yours are not the end of you. The life you want is built in. It's built inside of you. It has to come out of you. You have to go inside and bring it out of you. Some of you guys feel like you can't build the life you want because you need this, you need that, you need this. and all these things outside of you, but you actually have to start with what you already have inside of you. That's how you bring that thing out, right? And then you get everything you need along the journey, but you got to start with what you got. It's already in you. It's built in. It came like that, okay? So I don't want to get off track. So let me tell you what your mistakes are. Since your mistakes don't define you, let me tell you what they are. Since your setbacks don't define you, let me tell you what they are. They're that point where the old you meets the new you. It's that resistance of trying to blend them together, if that makes sense. It's that natural resistance of two things, the old you meeting the new you. It's that threshold there that you must walk through. The life that you want to create is being created in real time. You're actually, when I said it's in you, and as it comes out of you, it's real time. And your setbacks are the bridge that you walk across to get to the other side. So when things don't work out, just know maybe the road ahead hasn't been paved yet. Maybe you can't walk across that bridge yet, and to keep you from falling off the bridge, life had to just set you back just for a second. Think of that sign that says under construction, right? That's what setbacks are. Because we're building our lives as we go, some things have to catch up with us. Sometimes we can get ahead of ourselves, and we just have to be reminded that, hey, you're moving too fast, So setbacks are preparing you, when you understand the law of karma, the law of patience and rewards, then you understand that some levels that we want to go to require a new mind, a new body, new insight, nothing more, nothing less. Don't think too much into it. The project is still under construction. Your setbacks are not here to stop you. They're here to bring you up to speed. Why? Because setbacks build muscle. Setbacks build wisdom and resilience in you so that you can thrive on the level that you're trying to reach. Because let's be real, every new level has giants. And if you showed up unprepared, you get crushed under the weight of that blessing. But your setbacks, they're training you to be strong enough to stand there and hold it, right? Your mistakes aren't proof that you're not enough. They're proof that you're still in the game. If life wanted to take you out, it would have done it already. The fact that you're still here means that there's more in you. That setback is not the end. You know how I know? Because that breakup didn't break you as much as you thought it would. In fact, it showed you the kind of love you really deserve. In that failure, it gave you wisdom that you couldn't even buy. Life isn't saying no to you, it's saying grow to you. So don't take it personal. Sometimes when life shuts a door, we take it personal. We think it's punishment. We think it's proof that we're not enough, as I did. But the truth is, there are things you need to grow into before you can carry the blessing that you're praying for. I had to grow into patience. Can I wait without complaining? Can I trust the process instead of rushing the outcome? I needed more discipline. Can I show up even when nobody's clapping for me? My character was pretty good, but some of you need more character. Can you handle power without abusing it? Can you stay humble when the spotlight finds you? I had to grow in faith. Can I still believe when everything in front of me looks impossible? See, life was not rejecting me. It was protecting me, in a sense, training me from the giants that I couldn't see, from being defeated and annihilated by them. Because if I got those blessings too soon, I would have dropped it. I would have lost it. It would have crushed me. And so I think the feeling of dropping a blessing is even worse than never having a blessing at all. So don't mistake delay for denial. Don't mistake setbacks for rejection. Life isn't saying no to you. It's just saying grow. Okay. And so the fourth thing that I had to hit the reset button on was my confidence and my resilience. I had to realize that I believed a myth. And that myth was that my mistakes were permanent. But when I hit the reset button, it reframed my thoughts. I had to replace that old thought with a new thought. My new thought became setbacks never defined me. They never define me. They actually refine me. And let me tell you something. Your mistakes was never meant to define you either. They were meant to refine you. And so let me break this down. So when you say your mistakes define you, you put yourself in a box. You let failure, you let that breakup, you let that bad thing label you as not worthy, label you as a lost cause. But when you say your mistakes refined you, that's different. Refinement means that the fire didn't destroy you. It purified you. It sharpened you. It made you wiser, stronger, unstoppable. The only thing that defines me is how I rise after the fall. Did I just lay there or did I get back up? And so family, listen, don't let one bad chapter become your whole story. Your mistakes don't define you, they refine you. And when you understand this, you'll begin to step into your no more regrets life. And the fifth and final thing that I had to hit the reset button on is how I showed up for myself. Because if I didn't change the way I carried me, nothing else was going to change. Nothing else was going to change. I used to think because I wasted time in bad relationships or with the wrong person that I should just stay in it and settle. That if I left, everybody would see that, I made a mistake or my relationship failed. But then I hit reset. I learned to walk away, rebuild my boundaries, and chase the life that I actually wanted. Because I wanted a life of no more regrets. And so I left. And if you can do it, if I can do it, so can you. Maybe for you, it's not a relationship. Maybe it's your finances, your health, your mindset. But the principle is the same. Reset, reframe, and rebuild. Because here are the lies that your inner critic wants you to believe. You messed up too bad. No one will love you. You're too old to start over. Just stay where you are, even if you're not happy. It's too late to change. That's a trick in a bag. Because the only thing that makes it too late is when you stop breathing. In your no more regrets life, you stop making excuses and you start making moves. So family, don't let your purpose die inside you. You've got too much in you to leave this earth full. Empty out those gifts, live with no more regrets, and write down the one thing that you wish you hit the reset button on sooner. Ask yourself, am I willing to hit the reset button today? And if not, what would it take for me to hit the reset button? The only real regret is the choice you never made, the dream you never chased, the love you never gave. Resetting doesn't erase your past, it redeems it.